So I thought that was a cool little tidbit because he hasn't really talked about Nicky, his little brother, in a long time publicly. You see Brendan Schaub literally say, "I can't tell you the anxiety I have of watching you eat your food and praying it doesn't fuck up your day." In this video, I will give you a summary of the latest drama between B Team and Gordon Ryan as of February 24th, the biggest takeaways from Gordon Ryan on Brendan Schaub's Food Truck Diaries, and the betting odds and preview for WNO Pena versus Rodriguez. So tomorrow night, or it might be today by the time I post this, is the WNO in Costa Mesa, which will consist of 5 15-minute bouts and 1 30-minute super fight between Felipe Pena and Nick Rodriguez. Nicky Rod beat Felipe Pena at ADCC in the semifinals for the plus 99 division. He passed his guard by his body lock pass, the pass that Gordon Ryan has said is what makes Nicky fraud, because he just, in Gordon's words, stole everything that John and Gordon had taught him. So on February 13th, Gordon Ryan posted a picture of Nicky Rod looking a little bit chubbier and then Nicky Rod looking quite jacked. And he comments, "I'm a man of my word. We had an agreement to not talk shit about each other. The old cliche that winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners is true." He is on camera admitting to greasing multiple times. I've seen him before competition grease multiple times, and I purposely wore a long sleeve. Could you imagine building a brand and blatantly lying about everything in your life? Want to know our first introduction? Me teaching him a private on body locks, which he claims to have invented this system, yet it's clearly just a blatant ripoff of mine and John's shit, yet gives us no credit. So now what do you have? A brand built on a body lock system that you claim to have invented, yet everyone knows it's just a shitty version of mine and John's. You can easily see this by the level of comparative instruction. The other 50% of the brand being built on being natural. Can you explain to the fans, please, how in one photo you look like a fat dad who used to play high school football, yet now has a left titty. In the other photo looks like Arnold getting ready for Olympia. Yeah, so Gordon Ryan did not take lightly that Nicky Rod went on a podcast and said that his biggest strength is being on steroids.
They ain't a steroid running through this body, baby.
In terms of Nicky Rod using the body lock pass to score 3 points at ADCC to go to the finals of the 99 kilogram finals at ADCC, Nicky Rod was a brown belt when he did this to Felipe Pena, who is a black belt. So Gordon Ryan took to his Instagram saying that tomorrow is perfect anyway, because either Felipe Pena loses to a brown belt again, or NF, which I was so confused at first. I was like, wait, NF, it's Nicky Rod, not NF. But Gordon Ryan has been referring to Nicky as Nicky Fraud instead of Nicky Rod, if anyone else was confused by that or if I was the only one, I don't know. NF improves his record since 2019 ADCC to 11-11-2. His Instagram story before that was, oh, by the way, everyone, I pulled out on Tuesday, not today, just to be clear. So the news broke that Gordon pulled out yesterday, which was the 23rd, because I remember Kendall Roosing posted that she was going to be hosting and doing the post-fight interviews, and then she had to quickly change it because the news had gotten out that Gordon Ryan had to pull out of the fight. So that was Thursday the 23rd. He confirms that he actually pulled out on Tuesday, but I guess from flograppling side, they had to figure some shit out before they announced and made everything official. So additionally, everyone is talking about me at dinner like it's some big scandal. Are you guys fucking morons? And I think Gordon has been shadow banned so many times he has to blur out every time he cusses. I had dinner plans for Nat, his girlfriend's birthday, for weeks with many high-level people that are friends and people I do business with. Yes, I was sick, and yes, I was sitting at home for 2 hours on the couch, and he basically says he would have been doing the same thing as he would at dinner as if he was lying on the couch. Well, then he must be healthy enough to grapple for a potential 3 hours is absolutely the dumbest thing I may have ever heard. LOL, people are complaining I was able to sit at a 2-hour dinner, but no one mentioned the 6 hours of travel I made from Austin to Cali. Ha ha ha. I've competed for 5 years, chronically ill, always won. I competed in ADCC 2019, chronically ill with food poisoning with a broken hand, 7 months off LCL surgery, and double golded. I've had my LCL completely torn in half mid-match and still won. You can actually see Mo, Jassim in the picture, and Mario Lopez. I wouldn't want to miss dinner either. So people hating on Gordon for that can shut the fuck up, in my opinion, in my humble, irrelevant opinion. All of this buzz about his stomach and all the drama that followed up with the funny jokes that Craig Jones was making with the like Valentine's Day flowers and then giving him diapers and different shit. All of that's fun and games, but I do want to point out a little bit of confusion when people are accusing, I guess jokingly too, that Brendan Schaub's Food Truck Diary is what caused Gordon Ryan to have stomach issues. At 33, minutes and 30 seconds, you see Brendan Schaub literally say, "I can't tell you the anxiety I have of watching you eat your food and praying it doesn't fuck up your day." This show was shot on February 10th. The latest that it was shot was February 10th because Brendan Schaub posted a picture with Gordon then. The video wasn't posted until the 16th. So a lot of people saw the video was posted 8 days ago and they're like, oh, Gordon was eating food with Brendan Schaub 8 days ago, but it was actually shot much earlier than that. It just took a while in post-production to get it out. I don't think Brendan Schaub and his food truck food had anything to do with Gordon's stomach issues. Obviously, it's really bad timing, but Pena also pulled out of the last fight. So I think it makes it a lot more interesting that Nick Rodriguez is actually going against Pena now because Pena lost to him at ADCC. And I think it should be a good match. Felipe Pena mentioned that he changed gyms to Atos and has been training really hard in this camp, but Nick Rodriguez looks like he's not phased at all because he says that he's constantly in camp, never taking breaks. I'm curious what your guys' take on how the WNO rule set is going to affect the match. Do you think it favors Felipe Pena's style, or do you think that Nicky Rod should easily get it done? When I looked at the odds, and I'll put them up here now, it was basically a pick 'em between these two. Plus 115, Felipe Pena is the underdog, and Nicky Rodriguez is the favorite. Now we go on to the rest of the odds. For the co-main event, ADCC champ Giancarlo Bodoni is the heavy favorite, minus 465, and going against Pedro Moreno, who's the underdog, at plus 365. If you think the match will last 10 minutes or more, those are minus 300 odds, and the match to end within 10 minutes is plus 240. JT Torres is coming in at the favorite to defeat Majid Haj. He was originally a minus 450 favorite. Now he's at minus 400. And then Majid is the plus 300 underdog. And the match to last 10 minutes or more is heavily favored at minus 325. Match to end within 10 minutes is at a plus 250. Yeah, so that basically wraps up my preview for WNO. I'll just give you some main points from the Brendan Schaub and Gordon Ryan Food Truck Diary because I thought there were some really awesome points that were made that if you don't want to watch the whole hour-long interview, I can just give you the most important points. One quote from Gordon said, "Jiu-jitsu is never going to be as big as MMA, not even in the same ballpark, but it doesn't need to be. You just need it big enough where you can make real money as an athlete." Basically, he was saying that because there's no striking in jiu-jitsu and the common casual fan can't understand the nuances of jiu-jitsu, it'll never be as big as MMA. I think we can all kind of agree on that jiu-jitsu can become big enough that people can actually make a living off of it. And he also said something that I found interesting and also kind of motivating for someone who's just getting into jiu-jitsu in their early 20s is, "It is my belief that you peak between 35 and 40 in grappling because jiu-jitsu isn't based on explosion. It's based on isometric. I can't remember how exactly he put it, but he basically said that he thinks Andre Galvao peaked when he was 38 in the 2019 ADCC. His belief is that you actually peak in grappling at 35 and 40. And then also he brought up one of his biggest goals, and that is to double gold every ADCC until he's 40, which would give him 15 gold medals, which would give him more ADCC medals than Buchecha has world titles. And Buchecha currently is the most decorated competitor in terms of medals. So Gordon Ryan is basically setting a really difficult goal to achieve because ADCC is only every other year and Worlds is every year. So he would have to literally double gold every year until he's 40, and then he could outnumber Buchecha, who is currently the most decorated competitor in terms of medals. Another comment that he made on the Food Truck Diaries that I thought was funny is that he admits that he isn't athletic to what normal people would think is athletic. Like, he has different skills in a jiu-jitsu sense, but I'm athletic in a different way. If I had to do an NFL athletic test, it would be atrocious. So I think that goes to show that you don't actually have to be super athletic to be a good jiu-jitsu practitioner. The example that comes to mind is when I interviewed this girl at High Rollers, she would just be hunting backs, getting rear naked chokes over and over. And I was like, have you always been into jiu-jitsu or have you always been into sports? And she's like, no, I've never been into sports. I was always so unathletic, but I just, jiu-jitsu I stuck with and I got really good at without having any athleticism at all. And her name is Julian Robertson, who just got a really big win against Rose Namajunas within the first minute of a match. match at CFFC. So I think that just goes to show, if you are not an athletic person, you should still try to be good at jiu-jitsu, because athleticism doesn't really mean that you're gonna go far in jiu-jitsu. And then I think to close out the interview, he kind of talks about how he, instead of going to college, he convinced his mom after his EBI win and how much money he made with that if he could just drop out of college. And then he convinced his mom to let Nicky drop out of high school when he was 14. So I thought that was a cool little tidbit, because he hasn't really talked about Nicky, his little brother, in a long time publicly. And I really want that tea to spill more about the family. And I hope that they mend everything, because that sucks that they're not friends. But anyway, that basically wraps up all the information I wanted to give you guys. Basically the latest drama between B Team and Gordon Ryan, the biggest takeaways from Gordon Ryan on Brendan Schaub's Food Truck Diaries, and finally the betting odds and preview for WNO Pena versus Nick Rodriguez. I will most likely have a results video after tomorrow's WNO event, but if I don't, let me know what your guys' predictions are or what your reaction is to the show. And thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. It is almost to 5,000 subscribers, and yeah, see you guys next time. Thugs Bunny is getting a little bit crazy over here, so I gotta put her down.